All right, we're live. No intro because I've had some complaints about the intro. You don't want to see everyone I've talked to. I'm here with a guest, Tony, and our great friend Rhea, who is very intrigued by the Amico. She actually, I think she does have a pre-order too. Tony, do you have a pre-order?
Yeah, I got a pre-order. I've had a pre-order for a while.
All right, so I would like to say on my previous stream, although Tony, again, before we went live, said, well, I should know this stuff. I like to learn as I go. I don't do a lot of research beforehand. I like to do reactions, and I reached out for clarification from Tommy. He still says it's a non-issue because it's between, but I understand they went a step further. I understand your point there. They went a step further for opposition in the trademark, and that just happened recently. So that was your whole thing as to why there could be something there, and you gave multiple reasons in your videos that there could be something there. I don't, me personally, once I get clarification from Tony, I said at the beginning of the video, if it is a problem, I will apologize later on. I did say that at the beginning. But as far as he's told me, and I do have the Nick Richards video too, timestamped, where they said it on your stream as well, which you said in your video, that it's between the other companies. They want them to sign something, but I think your angle was, and correct me if I'm wrong, which you always do, is when they recently went the step further for opposition. That's like, why are they doing that right now? And I wasn't sure what I could say either when I was DMing Tony, or Tommy. Now I'm mixing you up. But it was regards to the Prism, the light show on the Amico. And that's why it's very similar specs. So, again, if I'm wrong in the future, I will make a correction. But I really, honestly, do not believe he would speak this freely to me, because he doesn't tell me stuff that I'm not supposed to know. He tells me this. It's not going to. I honestly, to me, this is my honest opinion. If you're using common sense, and we'll get to Rhea's timeline too, because I don't want. She worked hard on it, but I just wanted to address this first. If you use common sense, they would not be consistently having events right now. If it was an issue, they would try to correct this, in my opinion.
Okay, can I talk?
Okay, and they may actually start being manufactured. I hope so. I don't know, and I don't have any inside details, but I think they would hope so. They're actually getting products made, bags and stuff. If it was an issue, I don't think they would get all this stuff, the box art and all that other stuff. That would be a big disaster if it wasn't. Okay, good. Yes, go ahead.
To address that, first off, the two filings are not similar. You said they're similar. They're identical.
Exactly.
You have to acknowledge the fact they're identical filings.
I still think it's a nothing burger, even though they're identical, because the light system is all through the console. So they may use the same. Okay, sorry, go ahead. It's your turn. Okay. I have to learn my lesson. I have to let them go. Okay.
So they are identical filings. The filing does say it's for a video game system, not for a video game system light show LED thing. Number two, the trademark dispute, which is among the Amiga people,
yes,
it still has a deadline all the way until 2023, which means that that won't be settled if they go through all the process. It won't be settled until 2023. Thirdly, we have not seen the mainstream marketing from the Amico team, which could be because, once again, if they don't have the Amico name, why are you going to spend money on a marketing campaign if you can't use it? So this could be another reason why they're holding back on that. You can replace a bag real easily. You can put a sticker on a box. You can do things like that. Those are not things that are going to be an issue. We haven't actually seen any boxes other than the 8. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I've seen it in person.
Yeah. You've seen more than 8 boxes?
No, I've seen the box in person printed on.
You've seen a box, but you didn't see 50,000. We're told there's 50,000.
No.
There's no
just saw a video of it.
50,000. No, on the video there's only 8, Max. Watch the video.
Okay. All right.
They do not see all the boxes.
Hey, just to kind of quickly jump in. Hey, chat. Hey, everyone. Yeah, I did want to join the stream tonight to give some support to Max and to also, encourage a healthier discussion around the Intellivision Amico.
Okay.
I'm a fan. I'm a pre-order, person. I don't work for the company. I am just an enthusiast of, video games, as I'm sure a lot of us here are. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm here to support a healthy dialogue around it.
I would appreciate that too. Maybe I shouldn't have done my thumbnail like I did if I was doing healthy.
Well, that's my intention, of being here. So the reason I wanted to jump to that point and then pivot to the first topic is basically what we're discussing right now around the trademark dialogue that's happening right now with potentially Intellivision and other folks who may also have access to that name as well. Like it's kind of it's information that's kind of being surfaced through these documents that Tony has shared on his channel as well as with us to take a look at if once we get to that point. But the first topic we wanted to kind of like quickly jump to where we can start citing specific examples is pretty much around like the criticism of the company's public relations. Is it truly separate from criticism of the console? So us being video game enthusiasts, does our taste in specific video games influence our how we discuss this console and the company? And I would be happy to hear Max, for example. This is your show. I want to hear you take it away on this topic first.
Okay, does the behavior of the CEO, can you say that question one more time? Your behavior of the CEO factor into criticism of the console? I think that's fair.
The way that I formatted the question though was more around like criticism around how the company's public relations. It doesn't necessarily. Okay. Yeah, public relations.
I think it's fair to criticize his actions in public relations, how he interacts with the public and just fans, which I don't consider people fans that constantly go after the negative on things. We're using the critique very I don't necessarily think it's gone to critique. I think it's crossed the line. It's gone a little personal. I think anything he said, like haters and idiots and stuff, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I think he's stressed because he really does believe in it. He's passionate, and when you're a creative and you want to put this much passion into it, when people don't want to give you, he's also old school. He wants to talk to everyone. He really wanted to talk to like Pat and Ian and stuff. And when people just want to criticize him, not get more info, it's very frustrating to him. And I do think that a lot of people just do not see the vision, and it's the same talking points over and over again. That who is this for? I think we've covered that to death. I also think he gets frustrated when he goes on to it's affected his ability to promote the console because he goes on to someone new and people come in with the same thing. No one cares about this. Okay, if no one cares about it, he's already answered that. He said, this isn't for you then. I understand that. It's very fair to criticize how he handles it, though. He had a few weird moments on the internet. The more you talk on the internet, the more you're going to have weird moments. Look at my channel. I mean, the gaming thing, everyone's like, oh, that's so crazy, but they know exactly what he means. Someone's that's so stuck in their mindset of the console that they're not open to different takes. So everyone that criticizes him on that, I think it's funny, but if you really, are you really offended by that comment? I think that's as far stretch. I think people are acting fake offended, or they are potentially actually Nintendo fanboys, and it's no big deal. People were making mountains out of molehills with this. He had a bad moment in an interview. Big deal. I think he's addressed this. He said it wasn't a good thing to say multiple times, and people still bring it up. And I think that's unfair because and the article that just came out mentioned that. They mentioned all the talking points where he's addressed this consistently. And that's where it's a point of frustration, even for people covering the Amico. We've answered all these before. Okay, it was not, I admit that wasn't a great look. I think it's funny because I like the dude. And just like, Tony could go hot sometimes, Tommy could go hot sometimes. Yes, it's fair but we also don't move on. It's the same stuff over and over and over again, every time. I'm sorry. I have a hard time. Thank you, Rhea, for working out the topics. But yes, it's fair to criticize him within reason. And if he answers, can we all move on? Can we all move on from that talking point? Are we still bringing up the gaming-ist and all that other stuff and the Nintendo, the bad stuff on the Nintendo? Are we still bringing it up? I think you're acting fake offended. I don't think you really care anymore. It's just to make fun of him and mock him. Sorry, go ahead.
Are we not allowed to say that word, Max? Because you keep saying.
Well, it's just for monetization purposes. YouTube flags the video right away. If I'm gonna take
I didn't want to say the word.
What's that?
I was just saying I didn't want to say the word and get you in trouble if that was what you were getting
No,
at.
it's just YouTubers. I try to keep my live streams monetized. I would like to make a little money off you being on here. I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie about it. I've been called an e-beggar this week too by our good friend Generation.
I heard.
We definitely want to get to that because I do have something to say, but I'll let Tony speak.
Yeah. Okay. So Tony, go ahead.
First off, I think one of the issues is when Tommy has a moment, people like Max seem to brush it off. It's no big deal. This is a recurring issue. The gaming-ist is not a one-off. He's said it before. He said it in the past. It's a common thing. He says this repeatedly. This isn't just one thing. And then he goes and tries to explain it in other places. And because Max doesn't follow it as closely as other people might, he doesn't see that Tommy's actually said it many, many times, multiple times within the last year and a half. And in the past, and like 10 years ago, that was one of his go-to insults for people, as he was saying that they were gaming-ist, being Nintendo fanboys, because Tommy always had an issue with Nintendo people being upset with it.
Well,
number two, you guys have a habit of dismissing other people's feelings and assigning blame, assigning motive. If someone says they're offended, you're not in a position to tell them they're not offended. You're not in the position to tell me that I'm a Nintendo fanboy and dismiss my criticism based on something that you perceive rather than something that I did or said. So that's really frustrating for people who have criticism to have it dismissed solely because you believe that we're Nintendo fanboys or we're fake offended or something. So that's probably something you should probably work on.
I always tell me my opinions. I would like everyone to like me, but I don't care. I'm just saying that's my opinion. People are acting fake offended if they still bring it up. He's addressed it. I personally, if people haven't, I said that was a bad thing to do, Tommy. I said I thought it was funny. I told that on an interview. I'm like, that wasn't smart. I told him that, and he agreed. He admitted it. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. So that's why I moved on. No big deal.
I would appreciate it if he would apologize for it and then not go into Atari Age and try to make something more of it, because he did try to, justify what he said. Instead of just saying, hey, I screwed up, shouldn't have said that. He was trying to justify his actions as if it was a valid thing to say. So again, I mean, if it was just a screw up, you just man up and say, hey, guys, I screwed up. You don't justify your screw up with, well, technically, if you look at it this way, guys, no. So
it's not. Isn't it fair for him to try to explain his reasoning, even though he did apologize for it? He did apologize for it. He's like, it wasn't a great thing to do. I'm sorry. But then he's trying to explain the reason because people were outraged and people keep asking about it. So I think it's fair for the man to explain his reasoning.
I just wanted
the original question. I think we kind of strayed a little, but you can 100% criticize the PR of a company and still have it separate from the console itself. I mean, look at the Sony Strange Baby commercials they used to have. That shit was weird. And that really wasn't something to get me excited about PlayStation, but I can separate those commercials from the actual PlayStation console itself. Just like I could separate Tommy's PR from the actual Amico and what it's capable of. So it's fair to criticize those things. And it's also fair to say, hey, they are two separate things, and I can look at one and not have it affect my opinion of the other.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, no, Tony, I couldn't agree more with you. Like for myself, I tried, to give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of the public relations around the company when I first heard about the console. Thanks to Saggy and Max, like I wouldn't even know that this console existed, or that there was such a conversation happening around it. And from their lens, of learning and me learning about the console through them. Of course, I want to, assume positive intent, and to an extent, I still do. I'm willing to give this company like over $300 for a Galaxy Purple Amico that I pre-ordered. So I do have some, hope as far as like me willing to, throw my money down a wishing well and expect, something that resembles what I'm being sold to come out at some point in the future. But as far as like the company and how it presents itself to the public, that is something that, I think, deserves criticism, and it does, and I get a few, lulls in whenever I see a meme or people, are dunking on it, because a lot of this stuff is like almost unreal to kind of like imagine happening in this day and age of like how much is being, is accessible on the internet as far as like past actions. And Tony, you're an expert on digging up historical events from long ago, so you can attest to this too. That is like, why would someone knowing that they're on the internet do this for all the world to see, and they're trying to sell us on this console? Like, I'm already sold, because like I said, I'm a video game enthusiast. I collect the classic video games as well as modern video games, retro inspired stuff like that. But I do not represent the target demographic at all. I don't think for this console. So yeah, it's a little baffling to me, and it's kind of a weird sort of internet anomaly that that I just sort of became fascinated with. So on one hand, as just a retro collector or retro inspired collector, I dig it. In television, I don't have any nostalgia for it. I'm way too young to have any nostalgia for it, but it's cool. I vibe with it. It's a cool design in my opinion. But as far as everything else, I'm just like, I'm kind of just just enjoying the ride and laughing at things that are funny to me that are happening. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
All right.
And yeah, we can like pivot to the next topic that I had.
Sure.
So personal connection or experience with the company and how it influences your opinion on the Amico. So for example, Max, like you talk all the time about the Amico event that you went to and what an amazing experience it was. Like something that that I wish I could have experienced as well. And Tony, I'm not sure if you've ever gone to like a live event or not for where you got to test the Amico, but Max, I would love to hear your take on like how that type of like experience has influenced your opinion on the console versus us who I'm assuming like both of us have either gotten to touch it in real life.
One of the best moments of my life for real, because it was my first YouTube event and I met genuinely nice people. And this is also a source of frustration for people covering it, and why people stop covering it is because people don't accept, just like Tony said that I can't assume that people aren't actually offended by the gaming comment. People can't assume that these people are not genuinely excited about the Amico, and we actually are. And we're constantly said that we're shills and all this other stuff, and that we're blinded, when reality is we played it, we had a lot of fun. It was a great experience with a group of friends, drinking, having fun. If you were there in the room, I believe you would all have fun. Even the people that are super critical, if we're drinking, having snacks, you would have fun playing the Amico. And people do not accept it, to the point where there are constant memes and stuff that are made about pro Amico channels, to the point where it can, I'm not naming any names, it can make people upset, even mocking like mental illness. And then I do see that people say I'm not part of that, but then I see people supporting those channels all on the chat, and some claim to be friends with the person they're in. And it's a lot of the internet stuff, fake friend stuff. Are you really my friend? Or are you there just to laugh at me? And it's very frustrating for Pro Amico. I'm going to be here regardless. I'm not stopping making. But I will get back to the point you're saying. that was an amazing event. It was all done in love. Tommy said, if you guys want something, I'll try to make it happen. So it wasn't just like, yeah, he still needs new investors for sure. And can you criticize that? Obviously you could criticize that, but if you want to, there's also employees here. There's 60 Intellivision employees. I want to support the industry. I want to support a company coming back in the industry, and they have to do something completely different. And I want to support that. We're having a lot of fun, and it playing it in person, and him saying, I'll come out and show it to you. And then he brought us Ritas and stuff, not to influence us. Just, he wouldn't even like someone else that's just there to be like the snake oil salesman. He would show you, get what he needed, and leave. He would not leave Retro Bros' house. He had to tiptoe with his socks. Tommy TALLARICO was in his socks there, noticing John's wife fell asleep. He's like, all right, I better put it away. It's just like when you're hanging out with some friends back in the day and people were over and it gets really late. It was like that type of experience. And you could tell he's just in it to bring something great to people. And that's what I felt. And me saying that and others sharing that is a very constant frustration with people just mocking you. They can't accept that we actually like it. You don't like it. You think they don't look great, but you can't accept that other people don't, that other people generally are excited to play these games.
Tony, you ready to go in?
That was beautiful, Max. Brought a tear to my eye.
Thank you. I think if we removed this whole chaos and we were in the room playing Amico with some beers and you were playing your tunes like you did before the stream, we would have fun. But because it's this, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. No, I am frustrated about it. Yes.
All right. So I don't know about other people. I can't speak for other people, but I've never said that the Amico doesn't look fun. I've actually said it looks fun. A lot of the games, the breakout demo was real fun. What I've always maintained was it does not look $250 fun. That's what I've maintained.
Okay.
Now, secondly, you say that Tommy, he brought you stuff and it wasn't to influence you, but you had an unconscious bias, yeah. Max.
You could spin that. I understand that.
Influence, whether you want to admit it or not. He's your friend. You like him, so then you're going to be easier on the things that he is creating, the things that he's doing. The reason why you give him so many excuses and so many chances is because he's your friend. This is the unconscious bias that you have towards Tommy. You cannot separate that, and that's why you have issues with when people criticize the system and then you feel like it's a personal attack on a friend of yours, and it's not. Okay, the Amico might be fun. Okay, and you guys had a nice little event, and you guys were all gung ho, but a lot of that event was focused on the haters and fuck you guys, and remember the drunken
frustration from people, right? In that he drank too much one night. Big deal. He's very like I don't want to even bring up that because he's a great friend. You see. It's constantly he deleted his videos not because he doesn't want to. I'm not going to say interpret his actions, but I know it's very frustrating for him. He just wants to have fun, and he's a constant meme, and it's not cool. It gets to the point where people act like they're his friends, and I'm not saying you. I'm saying like fake Canadian gamer or something acts like he's friends, and then they go to the most toxic YouTube channels and thumbs up and comment on there, laugh at him. That's not cool. I've done research on this. I'm not showing you every little channel that goes too far. There's quite a few of them. I don't like going personal doxing. There's also, I don't want to bring up things, but there's been people talking about even people on my channel. They're going way too personal or finding out, or I don't want to even go into that. There's just a lot of personal stuff that I don't even want to mention because it's getting weird. It's getting weird. You shouldn't find out what people's lives are. Keep it to the context of the content here. I'm not saying you did this personally, Tony, but a lot in this group of people that go everywhere and show up everywhere support these really toxic channels. They do.
Once again, that's very horrible, and
yes,
it shouldn't be done. But again, it's not me, and it's not people that I hang around with. It's not people that I endorse or people that I wish to be part of my community. That said, all those horrible things that happen to you guys also happen to us on the other side. I don't want to make it like we're these two different sides of the same coin, but you know, I've had people harassing me. I've had people leave me horrible messages that I just don't publicly acknowledge and come out and make a big teary-eyed stream about, because, you know, I'm an adult and I handle things like an adult does.
Well, everyone's different, Tony. I applaud you for that, but yeah, everyone's different. It affects people differently, and it's constant on this side. I do say that I don't agree everything that was done. If someone crossed the line on you, and I don't want to know where you work or your name or anything like that. I really don't care. I just keep it to your YouTube channel.
Okay, and you said that, you know, the people have attacked mental illness, but I've yet to see anybody say anything about the time when Tommy harassed somebody in the comment section of a YouTube video, making fun of his Tourette's, and how it would be a funny and entertaining story to hear about how the kid got kicked out of a grocery store for having a Tourette fit.
I think you're being a little hyperbolic there. You sent me that. He came. Listen, I don't like that. The kid literally
emailed me, Max, and said that he couldn't go on YouTube no more because he was so stressed out about what Tommy.
Did Tommy know? Did Tommy know that he had this?
Yes, he made a comment about having Tourette's, and then Tommy commented after him.
I'm not going to comment on that. I think he should be careful. Everyone needs to be careful how they comment. I do remember you showing me this, and it was he was responding to a comment he made first. Sometimes you should just ignore. I think that's a fair criticism. You should just ignore.
Did you see what you just did there, Max?
What? I was agreeing with you.
No.
I said sometimes you should just ignore. He was responding to something that someone said, but obviously if they have other issues, you should just ignore it.
Okay, but again,
I wasn't excusing him.
You did when you first started talking, you were excusing it, and then you talked your way into a position.
I was thinking about it. I was naturally thinking about it. I was trying to give the context of what happened. That's not an excuse, and you have to be careful. If you know someone has an issue, you should not respond every single criticism. Just let things go. And,
so then you agree when Tommy said that it would be an entertaining story to hear about how the kid with Tourette's got kicked out of the grocery store. That was a horrible thing, and he shouldn't have said it.
What's his exact words? We need the context here, I guess. Bring it up if you're going to bring this up.
I will send you the link.
Is it okay if we stick a pin in this, just because I feel like this is what I like to call a bike shed moment where neither side is going to agree with one another. We're happy to pivot back to this.
Right.
If we have
I can't do damage control on this. I think he should be more careful about what he says, and I do think the context of the actual comment was a little different than how Tony presented it. Not he didn't stray far from it, but he was. I think you said I have bias. He's showing a little bias there too. Okay, go ahead.
The reason I'm saying that we should probably pivot from this is because to Tony's point, trying to make excuses for someone else's actions is the whole reason why detractors and supporters for the product are going at it. Or at least that's one side, because neither side is accountable for the actions of certain folks, which is actually the next topic. That this is a great segue to that. So accountability of the community to individual actions. Now it seems like we kind of touched on this already, that we can acknowledge that the treatment of YouTubers by specific users, not folks who represent the community by at large, are responsible for harassment, doxing, ... things like that, and neither side supports that. However, there is some belief within certain circles that certain sides align to supporting that type of action, which we should address right now, if that is the truth or not.
Yes, if I could go first, I disavow any type of behavior. If anyone follows my channel closely, this is where fandom goes too far. Keep it to the words and the context, and that behavior too online. But don't don't find out where people work or live or their name. You know, if they have a YouTube name, keep it to that. There's no reason for this, and that is definitely across the line. And I don't like what happened to Tony either. I said that. I said I don't like it. What happened to Tony in the past as well. I don't like that either.
If I could just quickly add my take that from my own personal experience, I have, gotten more direct contact, I guess, like by engaging in content from folks who could be considered detractors, but who are actually just, consumer advocates or, just critics on, the video game industry as a whole, and certain business practices that they see they want to comment on in regards to the Intellivision Amico. And for me, I don't necessarily look for positive or negative content. I just enjoy content period on this topic. And oftentimes in the comments section, it's a mixed bag of folks who are known for potentially harassing or things like that to other folks who are supporters of the console. But I don't blame the content creator under which that comment was made of their video. So, case in point, some folks who are in the channel who make content, I think they're great. I think they're hilarious. I love their takes on the console, good or bad, ambivalent. But the comment section, as you both know, as content creators, it's like the Wild West. Anything goes unless you manually filter it out, or Google or YouTube filters it out, or it gets reported. There's little to no stopping folks from doing whatever they acting on their own devices there. And I would never think to blame someone else's who has made the video for a comment that someone else made that is threatening to me. So that's just my personal opinion. I probably wouldn't even report it to them because they had nothing to do with it. I might seek support from other folks, like I have recently, about that. But I'm not going to point fingers, saying this is because of you. No, it's if I put myself out there as someone who talks about this topic, it's on me to kind of take action if I see that I'm being harassed.
Well, okay, that's fair enough, Ray. I appreciate you bringing that up, especially since you were personally impacted slightly recently too, and that's not cool. Please stop. But a lot of the Amico talk is not organic. Like a new person talks about it, there's a big mob of people coming in with the same stuff. Do you know Tommy said gaming is whenever he tries to engage in a new thing, it's like the Rotten Tomatoes thing. It's internet problem, mass downvoting and stuff. I've caught Tony downvoting vids and his vid exploding. Every single vid he showed, downvote. When I make a live stream, it's downvote and he's in the chat. I know it's him, and you can't. That's not organic commentary or critique when you downvote before you even hear what I have to say. Constant. When anyone does a live stream or anything, it's the same usual suspects. And even though you're not responsible for other people's actions, I think there's something to said by the constant encouragement when they know they're consistent. There's people still consistently doing some horrendous things towards other pro content Amico creators. And I say that I see not Tony, but I've seen other people in the chat encouraging and laughing at people. When people, I guess it's subjective who goes across the line. And I don't want to point out these channels. I could give you the examples, but I don't want to show it to you because I don't want this to be a never-ending cycle. That's why I won't show it to you. Okay. I don't. What's that, Tony?
What does organic mean? You keep using that word organic. It's
well, a lot of internet tomfoolery is groups of people that have their own agenda and bias towards something, an entertainment or a fandom or whatever, and it's mass downvotes and go. There's a big mob of people talking about the same old stuff that happened a long time ago. It's interfering with Tommy's right to promote his product and have interviews on the internet. It's like there's people that have wanted to cover it, and and I know this for a fact, Tommy's actually said, you may not want to cover this. You may not want to get involved because you're going to have a headache. Absolutely. It's not this. It's everyone's subjective opinion on if this is organic or not. 100% in my mind, even though, like Ray said, you're not responsible for other people's content. I think that this is organized downvoting and mocking people before they can even get a word out when they make a live stream or when they make content. It's to an unhealthy degree, and that's why I say Amico trolls. I absolutely believe it. I don't believe this critique is organic.
Right there, Max. Yeah. If you listen to what you said it was organized. So you believe that
I didn't say you organized it. I didn't say that. This is what happens on the internet. This isn't isolated to the Amico. There's mass downvotings and stuff. This is internet's problems. It's not just Amico problems. When you organize to go downvote stuff, when you go organize to go downvote and mock people, and instead of someone coming across the video, go ahead.
Content.
What's that?
You believe there's an organized effort to downvote Amico content
to control the narrative on the videos, because it also, I think, even people that aren't monetized have bias and want to get noticed. Here's Days Gaming. I think he's a funny dude. I actually really like his content. You did a good roast.
This is actually the next topic too. Like, what would we consider valid criticism versus invalid? And y'all kind of touched on it, on what you're personally defining as organic.
See, here's the gaslighting, mocking me, thinking, oh, it's just the internet. Oh, he's crazy. No, it's not organic. I don't believe that for a second. I'm not going to go through.
You still haven't defined the word organic. I asked you really simple
natural criticism, not organized as a group to control what happens on anything that's pro Amico. You immediately, not you, the majority of the Amico critics say they can't be genuine. They're a shill. So there's a large downvote campaign, or they all go attack everything. It's controlling the search engine on YouTube. It's not natural. It's not organic. No one can make anything.
That word organic, Max. What does organic mean?
Natural.
Define organic.
Natural critique. When you're grouped together with a common goal, it's bias and agenda.
So if
you're getting attention off the Amico failing, just like Pat the NES Punk,
people upvoted, then it wouldn't be organic.
We don't organize. As far as I know, we don't go organize to go downvote criticism either.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was, if a bunch of pro Amico people upvote a video that's pro Amico, that would be inorganic according to your definition.
I believe that the critics are letting their bias and agenda.
You're not answering the question, Max. You're avoiding what I'm saying. So I'm going to be really clear. If a bunch of pro Amico people upvote a pro Amico video, would that be organic or not organic?
If they enjoyed the content and they liked it, sure.
So organic. How do you know that those people downvoting just didn't enjoy the content?
You're defending the mob here.
I'm not defending anyone. I'm critiquing your criticism.
A lot of my stuff is opinion. I can't prove.
But you're not presenting it as opinion, Max. You're presenting it as fact. You're saying this is an organized effort. It's inorganic.
I said I believe. Did you hear that part? You're missing that part. I said I believe.
Okay, so Max, to kind of give my perspective on what Tony is trying to communicate to you, like in regards to, like, let's say, like the Amico, the Crayola event, everyone who participated, I loved seeing everyone's different footage that they uploaded on their respective channels, talking about how their play experience was, but all those videos tended to come out around the same time, and so I'm assuming everyone who engages with each other's content go and support it and comment on it, to get engagement up and support the community and support their friends and things like that. All of that is wonderful, but is that not like the same, but in a perhaps in your opinion, more positive, way of kind of influencing the algorithm and helping boost each other up to increase the relevance of their channels as well as like the topic. So that way, those videos are some of the first that pop up in lieu of the more detracting, meme sort of videos that we all know about.
When you've been looking forward to actually getting your hands on, you want to share it right away. They want to share their experience. Also, a lot have put in their personal funds to travel to this event. So it's a big thing for them. They want to share it as soon as they can. I made that video in my hotel room. I spent personal funds when I was broke because I really wanted to see it that much. He didn't pay me to go there. I just wanted to share. And I was completely tired because I drove like 6 hours and then I was up all night and I couldn't wait to talk about it. I cannot prove my accusation. I give strong opinions. I'm not going to go through and try to give you proof that of all the things I'm saying. I believe it based on my experience of covering the Amico, and that's as far as I'm going to leave it. If you want proof, I don't care. I'm saying I don't think it's organic. I think it's controlled to try, because a lot of these channels, as much as they like to say shill, they're shilling towards the negative, and your channel's going to pop if the Amico fails. So they want to control that narrative as well. As much as people say that Tommy's trying to control it with positive content, I personally believe the people are being genuine. I guess that's my bias. I believe the people excited about the Amico are old school dudes that just want to have fun with their families. And I believe that. I don't believe the amount of content that's mocking us is natural. I think it's not organic, and it's to control the narrative, to mock us, and someone's going to pop from it. Pat the NES Punk makes the most Amico videos, obviously.
No, he doesn't.
Not intelligent. Yeah, I did a search. He's the top creator.
He doesn't make the most. I made more Amico videos than Pat did this month.
Oh, okay. Well, he's maybe because of the views.
Just to kind of pivot back to like the main point about like just to kind of pivot back to invalid versus valid criticism. Like so, as someone like me who's like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, coming into the Amico community, excited to talk to anyone who wants to talk about it. Okay. I've really enjoyed watching Tony's content for sure. Like we're in a shared Discord, and I talk with folks who are all over the map as far as their support with Amico. Some of us like to share memes and talk about it. How a lot of the ridiculousness of like the conversation has gotten up till now. But yeah, it's not in malice. It's like it's not to spread hate towards any specific person. At least like when I from my perspective, it's just sharing our opinions of like some events that might be funny that happened on the internet this one time. So in good faith of like what you're saying are the intentions of the company to bring this wholesome gaming experience to their consumers, and in good faith of YouTubers who want to cover the console because they're genuinely interested. I'm in good faith of other folks who are genuinely like consumer advocates and want to share as much detail around the company that they feel is being obscured and is not consumer friendly and is not, in good faith of being transparent with their customers. And I can see a lot of truth on both sides personally. That's why that's why I'm more than happy to, hear the criticism as well as the support. I don't want to have just one perspective of a given, console. I buy a whole lot of stuff, and I want to know the good and the bad. But that's sort of like the extent of like where I see I don't think that there has been any true invalid criticism, at least like from what I've seen. Like I'm sure there's like trolly disparaging remarks, and I wouldn't consider that criticism at all. Like those are just disparaging remarks. So if we can just separate the word of invalid from the word criticism and just acknowledge that criticism is like this legitimate sort of observation of documented events and ability to communicate in objective truths as well as personal takes on it. Like, that's what criticism is. Disparaging remarks and trolling, that's a whole other thing. So those two words should never be together. That's an oxymoron, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's my take.
All right. Tony?
Yeah, I would say the only invalid criticism would be criticism based on lies or mistruths. If you're basing your criticism on the truth, on a fact, then it can't be invalid. Like Ray has said, that would just be an oxymoron. Anything as far as the Amico is concerned is fair for criticism. Criticize the look, I can criticize the games, I can criticize the marketing, the PR, the way other people are presenting the content. All that is for open for criticism. Now, to Brian's point, who's in the chat saying that I come off a little obsessed, a little intense. I get that. I understand. I don't want to make that many Amico videos. I really don't. I know I say that a lot, but I mean, if they do things on a daily basis, I'm going to cover it. Someone else is going to cover it. I might as well cover it too. But Max is always saying that Pat is obsessed. He has a lot of criticism towards Pat, and Pat's only made 15 Amico videos in the last 9 months. Max, you made 25 videos on Griggs. So by your definition, I think you're obsessed with Jeremy Griggs, and that's just based on the thumbnails and not the actual video contents. So, I mean, if you're going to throw around labels on people, I think we should be a little introspective first before we start calling other people things.
Okay.
That's my criticism for you, Max.
Fair enough. I have made a lot of videos on Jeremy. That's a fair commentary on my channel. I try to be more diverse than I used to be, and I feel that he is great timing, Justin Proper. I feel that he is impacting fandom in a negative way, and Geeks and Gamers is not what it used to be. And that I didn't mean to bring this up when Justin popped in the chat, and I appreciate Justin. That's my honest opinion. I think that he is injecting politics into the conversation, and I cover movie madness, and I cover the criticisms just like you do. And it's my opinion if it's being genuine or it's, again, internet tomfoolery towards a false narrative where everything's woke. But I don't really want to get into that here. But I think it's fair to criticize me of the Jeremy content. I do think that's fair. Yes.
The point, Max, was you say things like, I make too many Amico videos. Pat makes too many Amico videos. Yet you make a lot of videos on a single subject and you see no issue with this. It seems like you're more concerned that we're making it about the Amico rather than the amount of videos we're making. Another criticism I would have is you have for the last, 3 or 4 days have called people irrelevant. These irrelevant trolls. You try to come at Gen X Gamer, Days Gamer.
Yeah.
My boy Rambling Man. And Max, you realize that you've only had 37,000 views in the last 30 days. I've had 12,000 views, and you have 18.5 times more subscribers than I do. And you only managed to make 3.1 times more views than I did.
I'll be honest with you.
You made 43 videos in the last month.
I'll be honest with you.
You have an average of 867 views on those videos. Well, I've only made 20 videos in the last month with an average of 604. So before you start throwing around the irrelevant label on people, maybe, again, a little introspective, look at yourself, at your channel, worry about your numbers, worry about your thing, and let us worry about our thing. I
was throwing small heat back at
but no one's throwing heat at you, Max. You're coming around throwing heat at people for no reason.
I want to actually support Tony's argument here, because that is something that I was a little disappointed in as well, Max. And I kind of shared this with you that like the folks that you were calling out, and some of them are in the chat. Yeah. They actually make solid content, and they're just regular dudes, just like you just talking about this topic that is randomly interesting to them. And it's like me, I'm just randomly talking about it because I'm interested in it. I'm not looking to grow my platform or grow my Twitter or have audience for like a YouTube channel or anything like that. I just enjoy talking about it with people, and I think the same can be said about the folks that you did call out. And I don't think it was fair to to, you know, like disparage them and, you know, criticize their content without watching it. I think that was that wasn't okay in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. That's why I like Rhea. She tells me how she feels. It was light. I went to the channel and I said, look at before for Days Gaming. It was barely mentioned. I just said, you guys want proof? Here's proof. I tried to give you one example before he started covering that. And now, listen, it's not stunning and brave to say Amico sucks. It's jumping on the bandwagon. The problem with the internet today, in my opinion, is no one wants to like anything anymore. And I get sick of people hating on stuff. That's my personal issue. I don't want to inject that on other people. But to say this is the other problem, to say it was an attack, I showed his channel. I showed the 4 videos before he started covering Amico, had like 20 to 40 views. It was for an example. I wasn't overly, I guess the one I said that may have been a little bit crossed the line to me personally was Generation X Gamer. I said, called him a bad actor. Maybe I was in the heat of the moment. I would take that back, and he did give me a good roast today. I gave him thumbs up his video. I gave him a thing in the chat. I like being roasted. Personally, it was I was having a little fun throwing a little bit back into to say I was attacking them. I said irrelevant Amico trolls just to get people here. I honestly did. I was getting jealous. No one was covering me. I was never made the Amico Footbath website in a long time. So I'll be real with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was like, I want to, you know, I wanted to take the heat off some other people by putting myself out there. I'll be real with you. That's the truth.
So me, like, you know, qualifying that statement, I want to just, you know, acknowledge, like, I'm not trying to placate, you know, Max. I do stand by, you know, my initial, you know, feeling of, you know, disappointment that, you know, he was kind of punching down on these YouTubers that I think are just, you know, having fun, talking about a topic they're interested in. But, like, I do want to also say that. Though? No, I wouldn't say it was an attack. I just said punching down. So, like, I guess punching down could be considered an attack. But
in the context of the video, I did say I don't want to punch down. I'm just, you guys are always asking for proof. I'm going to show it. That's all I did. Yeah.
But in regards to the topic that I'm trying to, in regards to the topic, though, like for invalid versus valid criticism, me having actually watched their content, and I can honestly say that a lot of like their criticism is, you know, unique and organic to their perspective. It's not just a rehash or a regurgitation of other, you know, trolly, cynical content. And I'm not talking about like the critical content that Tony and other folks make that is legitimately critical or researched. I'm talking about just the folks who just have disparaging remarks and calling bad names to people that either comment on the console or who work for the company. So I'm saying that the folks that that I feel you are punching down on do not do that. They have their own unique takes that now that you know that that's the case, I hope that going forward, if you do want to cover their content and, you know, comment on it, I hope that you at least understand that, you know, these are just regular dudes, you know, like who have a spare moment of time that to, you know, make some YouTube content and, you know, get some thoughts off of their mind. So about something they're interested in. Fair
enough. I don't have intention of covering them again. I covered them to cover an example of the YouTube search, and I maybe went a little too far when I was covering the search and commenting on everyone. But Days Gaming, I was very light. I was just showing the context of his channel. So it's definitely fair of them to criticize my content. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I went and supported them criticizing me. Ray H. Park says, Max, you should make Ray a co-host. Okay, yes.
You went and you looked at Days Gaming's channel, but you did no research into the channel before that. You didn't actually look at why he was making the content, why he ended up talking about the Amico, what he was doing before. You just looked at his numbers and came to a conclusion based on nothing more than your preconceived notion that he was somehow jumping on the hate train for Amico. I mean, I could look at your video that you did on Flynn, Son of Crimson, who only got like 90 views, and I could thereby say, you know what, you can't get any views if you're not hating on Jeremy Griggs, because obviously no one's coming to watch your video where you're reviewing a review of a video game.
My video game content. Yeah,
just to pivot, really quick, I watched both of y'all's content on Flynn, and because of that, I'm probably going to download the game for Switch. Yeah. So thank you both for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it
Ray.
did look good.
I do more. My video game content never got views on here. I do movie madness. It gets views too. Not as much as the other stuff. I'll admit that. Yeah.
So again, if you just look at certain things to get a perspective
I was
the way you want it,
I was using an example
but it was a bad
to
example. Is what I'm
comment
saying.
on. Listen, I think if you come in the game now and you're spouting the same thing that happened 2 years ago and act like you're fighting for the, I feel, and maybe where I did this bad actor comment is acting like you're doing it for noble reasons to help people when it's this constant stuff for it's hurting the conversation online about the Amico. It can't even go anywhere without a big mob coming to recycle old garbage. Let's all move on.
Did you watch Gen X Gamer's channel at all, Max?
Yes,
Because
I was
he
subbed to him and
actually
I
came at
unsubbed.
us.
I'll admit I was subbed to him. I unsubbed when he went more negative with the Amico, and then I subbed to him again. I'm still not subbed again to Tony.
So what you're saying is, as soon as he had criticism of the system, you decided that his content was no longer worthy of being watched.
I felt he was being influenced by the usual suspects using the same talking points, and I think it's lame to constantly hate on the thing. I respect Rhea in your opinion that I'll use my word again, organic. That it's organic, but I just think it's the same video made hundreds of times. The same conversation. We've addressed all the concerns. It's not for everyone. It's not pushing boundaries. We just find something new to complain about every single week. I believe the Amico will keep its name. The Prism, you did your video. You did good research. I don't know. I felt he was being influenced by and saying the exact same talking points. My personal opinion, if you ask why I unsubbed.
What it sounds like to me, Max, is
personal opinion.
When someone went negative, you decided that because they were being critical, that they were no longer worthy of your attention. Now, Gen X Gamer, if you watched it,
I don't really want to talk about these other channels too much because I think that perpetuates the cycle. But I was giving you the reason. I don't want to go dive deep into it, honestly, because
but Max, if
he
you're
obviously
talk about these people in any capacity, you should at least do some basic research. Rambling Man is an Intellivision fan. He was really excited for the system, and he had some criticism as to the way Tommy was handling it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Gen X Gamer is a huge Intellivision fan and a collector.
I did watch his videos. In my opinion, he went a certain way, and I believe
it was the way that you didn't like. He went negative.
No, you're saying that I just didn't like what he was saying. I feel that he jumped on a bandwagon. That's all. That's my opinion.
Why is the critical side a bandwagon and the good side?
Using exact H Sports, I did cover and I appreciate the support. It's my opinion. I don't want to.
I'm just asking you why you formed this opinion. Why is your opinion that the critical side is a bandwagon and the pro side is organic? Your opinion is based on something. I'm asking what it is.
My personal experience over everything I've experienced during covering this.
But Max, let me ask you this. So again, all of us here are, pre-order customers, and a few folks in the chat are as well. Folks that you just brought up, who do have unfiltered criticism, and pretty much all of it, from what I've heard and watched so far, has been totally valid. I find myself agreeing with them more and more every day about a lot of the business proceedings and their financial takes on the current state of the company. Even though that has nothing to do with my buying decision or perception of the console, it's still very fascinating for me to watch. So why is that? Why does that impact your feelings towards them as a content creator and how valid their criticism is?
I think a lot of I guess it's my general. It's not isolated to the Amico again. It's just my general perception of YouTubers is that it's easy to go to the way of hate, and then when I see that constant same talking points getting recognition, that constant I don't like it. I don't like just hating on stuff. And I feel it's my opinion. I'm not going to prove any of this. Thanks for laughing, Tony. I just feel that people jump on the bandwagon, they hate on stuff, and you're not really doing anything stunning and brave, or you're acting like you're the real deal. It's easy to hate on stuff, and that immediately turns me off. When you want something,
I
feel people want to fail.
Here's an analogy that I just. Here's an analogy. So here's this could be way off base, but you just let me have this moment to explain it. So prequel memes, like Star Wars prequels, people meme on those all day long. Mm-hmm. But I love prequel memes, but I love the prequels as well. Does me dunking on the prequels equate me hating on it? Does the same thing as me laughing at an Amico meme mean that I hate the Amico and everyone who supports it? No, they're totally different. I'm just enjoying content about a topic that I enjoy. That's my take on that. If people are memeing on it, they do it because this topic is fun for them. If they're criticizing it, it's an interesting and fascinating topic for them from the perspective that they're talking about it.
I've not to get specific, but the thing that turns me off is when I see people laughing at failure when someone's trying to do something for the video game company. To me, these are all personal feelings. I'm like, how can you really be a video game fan if you want to see someone fail? If you're laughing at failure, there have been mistakes. I don't feel that's a real. My perception is I don't feel that's a fan if you want something to fail. Yes, there's been problems in the retro game community with companies coming and bringing new products. It's definitely fair to criticize, but when then I see people laughing at mistakes and the things happening constantly, it's like, oh, this is going to be great. This is a dumpster fire. Okay, I guess it's just a personal.
Max, let me say something here. If I tell you that there's a banana on the floor and I say, Max, there's a banana on the floor. If you walk that way, you're going to slip and fall on it. And you ignore me, and then you walk that way, you slip and fall on the banana. I'm going to fucking laugh at you. Right? Tommy's been warned about all these bananas, and he keeps slipping and falling on them. So that's why people are laughing, because it's out there what not to do. Do not do this, Tommy. And then he goes and does it, and you're like, well, he did the stupid thing. I'm going to laugh at him. Now, you said that the same talking points keep coming up over and over and over again.
Right. That's why
wait. If the same talking points keep coming up, maybe there's a reason for that, Max. Maybe it's an actual valid talking point, not something that should be dismissed. Maybe you should address why this keeps coming up. Maybe it is a very valid concern that people are having that they don't feel is being properly addressed by anybody on the Pro Amico side or from the company itself.
We've addressed criticism. It's not for everyone. I don't think it's going to break the gaming. He said it was a disruptor. I don't see that yet. Not even the games I really enjoy. It's not a disruptor yet.
But Max, you're kind of mixing the criticism on the console versus the criticism of the company's public relations and how they operate, which is getting from my perspective, most of the criticism. And I don't expect you to have any answers or rationales for why the company is doing what they're doing. I know you're probably looking at it from the lens of a supporter.
I've been frustrated with lack of new info too.
Right, but it's when you try to rationalize the company's decisions on their behalf. That's when folks, including me, I'm looking at you like, why are you answering for this company that you don't work for? And we're just sitting here speculating and trying to decipher exactly what is going on based off of the information that's available online and that is able to be searched up, like how Tony does research for his videos and presents facts and information and stuff like that. Like the sort of obscuring of lack of new information being legitimized by folks who support the console is what's frustrating for me, because I'm like, that's why people think you have people who like the Amico have a vested interest in supporting it, because there's this constant apologist, narrative around the things that they do, when it's really no one's, job who doesn't work at Intellivision to have an answer for these things. It's all just up for speculation.
All right, with the mistakes, I feel I've been fair in my coverage. I tell you when I told my audience when I don't like some of the presentations. I said on the last presentation at E3, I really didn't like it. There was not enough new games there. When I asked him about it, he said he has to, the stuff that is licensed, he does have to get the okay. I do believe that with children's licenses, he has to get the okay to show new footage. Yes.
Max,
yes.
I want to stop you right there.
Yeah.
How long do you think it takes for somebody to pick up a telephone, dial a phone number, talk to the license holder and say, hey, in 2 months, E3 is coming up. I'd like to show some footage for your game. Does this take months to do? Is this they sending Pony Express with letters to the license holders?
I think it should have been planned more in advance. I know he didn't
plan. So then
plan.
It's a bullshit excuse. Then you should just say there's no excuse for this, Tommy. You knew E3 was coming up.
You're acting like I didn't criticize him on that. I did criticize him.
No, but you just said I have to believe that he had to ask the license holders, and it takes a while.
No, I do.
You just pick up a phone.
I do know from working.
E3 is coming up in 2 months. I need to put some footage. That's cool if I show them baseball footage.
It would have been
Thank
great.
you, MLB.
Right. That would have been great. I agree with that. I'm explaining that should have been planned more in advance and get new footage. But I do understand if you plan something short notice that you have to get the license holders to okay the footage. And that's for across the board industry standard if you're going to show a new game.
You know this how, Max?
My wife, what she's done, and I'm not getting into details there.
Okay, so
she's worked with toy companies. She's worked with children's properties.
So I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% definite, but I'm pretty sure that when they signed the contract, the MLB or whoever the license holder would have been informed that they were going to be showing it off on a regular schedule. It wasn't such a give us the license and then we'll just work out the details later. I'm sure the contract has a very strict usage in there and how they can show it off. Could it be perhaps there just wasn't anything to show off?
That's a possibility that there's nothing new to show off. I have seen enough that I think there are games being worked on in stuff that we don't know of yet. I've also seen stuff on the actual system that I wasn't allowed to play yet that I've seen. But I do think some of the initial announcements, some of those games may not have a lot of progress on them too. So it's a little bit of both. There should be more. They do have a good set of games, but not the original announcement 3 years ago. Things have changed. And I have criticized Tommy personally. I said, you should stop giving these specifics and start saying this is our goal, because people will hold you to that. And that is, I think he had taught, like Rhea said, positive intent, but you have to be careful when you do this, especially to the gaming community. Do not give all these specifics because people are going to hold you to it. Just say, this is our goal for this price range. This is our goal. That gives you a little wiggle room with the development and things. It was a lot. It's a lot harder than you think to bring, or that I think anyone realized, even for Tommy, to bring a new console to market, especially with a different controller. It's not just a SNES or NES controller, and that's probably why we're at where we're at. If you just did a basic controller, it may be out already.
Well, Max, like a lot of what you said overlaps with a lot of what I've heard from Tony's videos, other critics of the console's videos as well. And that's kind of like the point that I wanted to drive home was that there's a lot more substance in the critics of Amico's content than you're giving them credit for. And I know you acknowledge that that you might have jumped the gun on making a judgment call on their content too soon.
On Generation X, I stand by.
Right.
For days.
Yeah, you kind of jumped the gun, and we're kind of punching down on them, even though they didn't deserve it because you weren't aware of the validity of what they were saying.
I respect you, Rhea, and I love you pushing back on me. But if you listen to the context of the video, I said I don't want to punch down. I'm trying to give you an example where all their content is now Amico stinks. Am I generalizing it, dumbing down their content potentially? But in my opinion, it's probably it's on me. I don't like I feel it's
to actually
constant
push
hate.
back on that, the content creator that you're talking about, he actually had to change the direction of his content to not specifically call out the companies that he's criticizing. So now he has to make more broader sort of like financial observational commentary videos. And then those happen to align to events that we're talking about within Television Amico. So he's kind of, pointing us in that direction, like this is about that company, but I'm not gonna specify that company, because he's gotten like personal attacks towards his channel as well, and he's he's suffering with like content getting engagement being limited on his channel. So it sucks, like, and he's just doing this as a hobby. He doesn't want to monetize. Like, he's made that very clear in every video that he's made, including other people who comment on the console. They don't want to monetize either. And so to see them getting punished for something that they are just doing for fun, and also having their motives questioned by someone that they've never even acknowledged is like pretty frustrating. Their frustration is completely valid in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. I'll accept that criticism. I accept it, Rhea. Thank you.
I got nothing to add to that. I think Rhea handled that beautifully, and
I just didn't want to come on and just try to and be accused of placating my good friend, who I do care about a lot. But yeah, I do want to be transparent about how I was feeling, and I can only communicate that so much in the live chat. So thank you for letting me do that here.
All right.
Well, I know the individual in question is in the chat, and he feels like he's being lied about, and he's
to be fair, Tony, I said I wanted to change the subject. I didn't want to talk about him a lot. I was explaining why I unsubbed. It was my perception. I told you I don't want to perpetuate this and continue further, and now he shows up. Big surprise. I don't want to perpetuate this. Generation Gamer, I will give you my official apology if I judged your content without doing all the context of all your videos. I watched some of them. I was subbed. I subbed again. I approve of the roast you did of me. Good job. Is that enough of an apology? I don't want to perpetuate this and have him come on or go further. I don't plan on covering these channels again. That was a one-time thing. And I gave support of the criticism of me. If he can address, you can see that for yourself in their comments section. I wasn't, okay. I will never say your name again. It's out of my mouth.
I think we can probably I acknowledge this as a bike shed moment, but I do appreciate you acknowledging this topic, Max, for sure. We are a little ahead of time actually, so I wanted to jump to like an open panel. Tony, I know you had some other social proof evidence and things like that you wanted to bring up and discuss with us. So yeah, if you want to take it away, or if Max, if you have another topic that you wanted to bring up.
Well, I wanted to ask Tony why it's so important for him that I cover okay. Let me ask you this way, Tony. You know what I'm going to ask you, if you know what people are going to do with the Tommy follows certain people on Twitter. You know how what's that?
Do I know what people are going to react? How they're going to?
Do you know what that would do based on the world we live in, cancel culture?
Oh, you mean the same people that have been attacking me all week because I have right leanings and I've been being harassed by the
right. So you personally know this, right?
The Amico Reddit.
Okay, you personally know how people work. Why is it so important that I reveal that video?
I don't care who he follows. I don't care what way he.
Well, why do you want me to cover that so much?
I didn't, Max. What I wanted, you made a statement. You said the reason Tommy followed him was because. What you should have said was, I don't care who Tommy follows. He can follow whoever he wants, and then moved on from the subject. But you made a statement. You said the reason he follows those people is because X. And I've proven that that's not true. I've shown you evidence, and you've admitted it in DMs that you disagree with Tommy politically, which means you know that he follows them not because he was trying to promote the Amico, but rather because those are his political beliefs. So instead of being honest with your audience, which you should always be honest with your audience, you lied to them and you tried to frame it as Tommy was just trying to promote the Amico, which is also why you refused to show the video of Tommy being excited about the quarter.
I know he's very anti-SJW.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But again, I don't care. He could
be lie to my audience.
The issue was that you were lying to your audience. You should have just said, it's not something we need to talk about. Let's move on from that. And no one would have cared. But you framed it in a way that made Tommy the good guy and that he was doing nothing wrong and that Max was just telling the truth and stating facts when you weren't. And don't you think you owe it to your audience to actually tell them the truth?
We can have a nuanced conversation. The internet cannot, knowing that Tommy follows this dude. And that's what you wanted me to reveal. Why did you want me to reveal
once
that?
Once again, Max, you're not listening.
No, I'm asking you a question. You like to turn it around and ask me a question. Why is it so important to you, knowing what you've personally endured being more right-leaning on the internet? Why do you want everyone to know this? Do you actually think Tommy is what there's...
I don't think you're hearing me very clearly. You made a statement of why he was doing this.
I said I believe this is why he follows him.
The statement you made was a lie. You lied to your audience.
I did not lie to my audience.
You said he was following him for a specific reason, and we both know that.
I believe this is where he started following him. He think he jumps the shark a little bit with the too much anti-SJW, which a lot of the internet does. And that's the other reason. Because they were trying to cancel him with Doug TenNapel in the Earthworm Jim game. And that's why, and he did confirm that to me. That's where I found out about this dude. I'm not a liar. Don't call me a liar on my own show. If you're going to do that, we'll end it here.
Max, I don't think that he's trying to,
no, he said I lied to my audience. I said exactly why I think he follows the quarter ring.
Well, okay, so
and
I feel that you were I feel like you were trying to rationalize someone else's social media behavior, even though you have no, reason to. Like, again, you're not an employee of this person. You don't work at the company. You're not, someone who's in their life on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if y'all talk every day or not, but it's like, why do you have this vested interest to rationalize their decisions and their behavior that's being criticized? I think that's ultimately the root of the question. I removed
the person that says they don't want their name in my mouth, so I made it easy for you. I don't care. You're never going to have my name's never going to be in your name's never going to be in my mouth again. There you go. All right, so go ahead, Rhea.
Basically, again, it's the same question I brought up a little bit ago. Like, why do you feel the need to rationalize and make these mental gymnastics about other people's decisions and decisions that you're not involved in? Basically,
because I think it went personal, and we know how certain people that jump the shark on the left are going to react to this news and put Tommy in an unfair light. I think he goes too far with the anti-SJW. That's another reason. I didn't lie. There's two reasons. That and the quartering defended him when they were trying to go after the Amico because of Doug TenNapel and Earthworm Jim. And I have confirmation that's where he followed him. I said that's my belief. I showed
you evidence that your belief was wrong. And we discussed this days before you made that video. You said to me, and I quote, "I don't agree with his politics," which means you know that he was following him for not reasons that you stated, but rather he agreed with him.
Two reasons. You're creating this gotcha moment. There's two reasons.
Not a gotcha moment.
Yes, I don't like all the anti-SJW talk either. I separate the art from the artist. Tommy has a lot to offer. It's unfair to call him an actual-ist, which is alluding to in the KOTAKU article. And that's why the people that can't stand Tommy want it to be covered.
Brian says, because Max knows how things work on Twitters. However, Max, it's not your job to defend Tommy. That's the point. The point is you just needed to say,
if I want to, I can. If I want to, I can. Why does anyone cover anything? I want to talk about it. I think it's being unfair.
Yes, you totally within your you're right to
here, I don't
that.
want politics to be part of the conversation. That's what I've consistently said on my channel. That's why I wanted to cover it.
Do you want to cover politics because you didn't want politics on your channel?
I want to get it out of the conversation and stay to the critique. Why does everyone want to have this highlighted that he followed him? It's nonsense just to put more heat on a thing that already has its problems. I'll admit it has its problems. It's not important to the conversation. It was already out there. That's why I covered it. You should have
just said that. That my whole point was you should have just said it's not important to the conversation. We're not going to cover that. But instead, you made the excuse and you were trying to justify why he did what he did.
Why can't I give a reason of why I think that happened? What's so wrong with doing that? You're saying I can't talk to my viewers and say that I think this is why he was following him to begin with? Because he likes anti-SJW content because of reasons. Even when Amico was first announced, people were all after Doug. That's another reason he likes anti-SJW content. I don't like anti-SJW content.
Again,
I don't like that he follows him. Whatever.
This isn't about who he follows. This isn't about what he.
Why is it so important to cover it?
It's not. You're not listening. You're being very.
You wanted me to play that video on the last stream, and I said I'm not doing it.
And why? Why wouldn't you do that?
Because you want everyone. There's
information
already ramifications of the Kotaku article. There's people reacting to the article saying, "Oh, he follows the quartering. That must mean he's this."
You basically said, "I don't think this is important, but let me give an excuse for why he did it. But I will not give my audience context and show them the video of Tommy."
I will show the video. The whole part of the video where he's like, "I want to send you a console and a T-shirt."
He doesn't say
wants
that,
to promote his console.
That's not what he says. I can quote exactly what he says. He says, "There's the quartering in the chat," and the quartering says,
"I like that guy."
The quartering says, "I want to. Why don't I have one of those on my shelf?" So then Tommy starts talking about how he likes the quartering. He follows him. Rich says, "Oh, he's a chat," and Tommy says, "Yes, he is in the chat." I mean, I can keep going if you want. He then
There's
says
nothing there.
He
wants to send him a console. He knows he has a big platform. That doesn't mean he knows the whole context of his channel.
Just to kind of acknowledge the chat a little bit, I do see this getting into like a bike shed moment of like, okay, like full transparency, Tony. I totally acknowledge that your, research and the clips that you showed are gonna, support that, the CEO of the company does support this person who is anti-SJW and who does, promote certain content on their channel. Whether or not this representative of the company, the CEO, has the exact same views or not as that person, like I don't think is Max's job to say one way or the other. I'm not looking for him to respond to that. So Max, I think that's what you're. We should probably end on that as far as like not just like. Stop, trying to like rationalize other people's like, social media behavior and how they communicate with their audience, who they follow, things like that, and just making implications around, their values and beliefs and their motives, because that at the end of the day, that's not your job to do that for them. And whether or not they want to, acknowledge that themselves, they can do that, which this person that we're talking about, and the CEO is more than capable of doing themselves. So that's the TLDR, in my opinion, on that topic.
Okay. I think these are interesting topics, and I wanted to share with my audience. I wanted to share with my audience my reason as to why it happened, and not that he has some nefarious motive for following him. But of course, I am not Tommy. But then he did say later that's exactly why. But I believe Tommy, so that's another one of my crimes. I consistently believe
that's
Tommy.
The thing, Max. You say you believe Tommy, but when he says something on video, you're like, "Oh, I don't believe what he said on video. I don't believe that comment that he made on Reddit. I don't believe this comment he made in the YouTube section," because they don't agree with what you're trying to promote.
What? What are you talking about?
Tommy said that he was not going to fire Doug, that the SJWs were not going to win, and that Doug didn't do anything wrong.
That's
complicated. I understand.
No, see, Max, that's the point that I think that I think I'm trying to, that I understand Tony is trying to make. Like, you're constantly apologizing for someone else's behavior because you think that it's something that should be apologized for. Just let it exist. Just let him, be an anti-SJW. Just let him be totally right-leaning. You can still love his console. I still like his console. I don't agree with any of his politics that I can extrapolate from his behavior. But yeah, like that's, I can separate the art from the artist, like you were trying to say earlier.
But isn't that something that we want of entertainment more, is to stand by their employees? That doesn't necessarily mean that he agreed to everything what Doug said. He started in the industry with him. He wants to make an Earthworm Jim game.
To be totally honest,
things have changed since that initial Doug conversation has happened too. Doug jumped the shark on YouTube. So I can't even address that anymore. I have no idea what's happening with Earthworm Jim or that. I hope Earthworm Jim 4 game still comes out. I don't know if it's possible. There's other people included in there that's not just Doug that are impacted by that decision. So I do feel that if I'm not at this time, I don't believe he has anything to do with it anymore, Doug, and he's just a consultant. So at that moment when Tony let that comment that Tony made before, that was a moment in time. Things may be different now. I'm just saying, I don't know all the details on that one either, but I don't know if it's a different situation right now.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that the chat's kind of getting a little exhausted on the topic, and I can see that we're kind of hitting a little bit of a wall as well. I don't want to push folks to talk about this more at length if they're getting a little burnt out. So yeah, any closing thoughts before we wrap up the stream?
Oh no, you think? Well, this is why you say you. Well, here's where I'm in a position. Everyone, you say you don't want me to defend the company or that, but all the talking points are things where I have to defend, and I'm not personally responsible. I'm just giving you my opinion. So I'm getting frustrated because I'm trying to handle the questions with my opinion and my perception of what's going on, and then I get criticized for saying what I think. I don't have a lot of proof for all this stuff. That the situation has changed, and and as far as I know, he's no longer associated with the project, maybe only on a advisor capacity, and that's it. But if Earthworm Jim still happens, I'm all for that, and I support it because it doesn't just revolve around Doug. And I think we can't hold up his comment at the beginning of when he stood by an employee and a coworker to now where Doug Tenapo is on the internet right now. It's not fair because there's a lot of time that's gone through from that when it was announced and all the shenanigans.
Tony, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, I think that Max and others on the pro side should really be very careful with labeling people as haters and dismissing valid criticisms. A lot of the issues that Intellivision has faced would probably have gone a lot smoother had they actually listened to the critics who are warning them of these things. You're constantly saying that people like Pat and Ian are lying, that they changing the narrative and things like that. But the truth is quite the opposite. They've just been reporting on what they've seen.
Suggesting that there's nothing actually in there or it's fake videos, that is across the line.
Why is that across the line, Max?
You're basing it based on other failures in the retro community, like the Chameleon. Putting that on something that's not proven, I think that's unfair. To suggest that there's all types of...
You said they crossed the line when they said that they could still get their money back. Why was that?
Saying that is one thing, but go and saying, hey, everyone, you could still get your refund order on, and retweeting that, I think that's a bitch move. I'm sorry.
Okay, it could be a bitch move, but that's not what you said. You said that they were actively trying to hurt the company financially.
But
So anybody
it's
who
really
says,
different.
"Don't go see a
It's really
movie,"
different from saying, listen, if any of this coverage is making you unsettled about the Amico, you can still cancel your pre-order anytime. But then actively retweeting, you can cancel your pre-order here. You can cancel your pre-order. My perception is that's across the line. It's just my opinion.
Every negative review that says "don't buy a product" or "don't."
No, but you asked me why I had a problem with the tweet. That's why I had a problem with the tweet.
You have a problem with negative reviews of other products that would say "don't buy it." Would that hurt those companies financially?
No, enticing people to cancel their pre-order instead of just giving your review is a little different. It's slightly different.
Hey guys, based on what I've seen, you should probably cancel your pre-order. That's their opinion. They're allowed to have it, aren't they?
Yeah, they're allowed to have it. Yes, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, I just to kind of like give my, closing thoughts. I appreciate Max making space for this conversation to happen. I appreciate Tony making time to jump on the stream with us to talk about everything that we talked about. I more than anything, I just want more diverse discussions about this console to come out. Good, bad, ambivalent. 100% meme value. Like it's all fair game. Like I think that the point of this stream, I guess, like for me, was just to take one more step in the direction of having like a healthier discourse, like I said, around this topic. So again, Max, thank you for doing that, and thank you, Tony, for coming through to talk.
I do value a lot, Rhea. You threw me a lot of heat tonight, which I like. That's fine. I like what you had to say. It was interesting to talk to Tony. What's that?
It's not heat. You're once again taking the criticism of the company and of the console and putting it on yourself. The heat's not directed at you. The heat is mostly directed at the actions of the PR head of the company. There are a lot of things that you guys just let slide. Let me give you a good example. Tommy was saying how he had the ladies from Nintendo working for the company. You remember that?
Yes, and I think her contribution was cringe.
Right?
Yeah. What's that?
They never worked for Intellivision. You know that, right?
In the one promo video where the marketer of that worked on the Wii, that lady,
Perry Kaplan, the lady who worked for Nintendo, she never actually worked for Intellivision. She works for Zebra Partners, which is a PR firm which Intellivision hired for a single PR piece. But Tommy implied that they were part of the team, and that's the mealy mouth weasel words and the misleading language that a lot of people have problems with. He didn't say, "Hey, we hired the PR firm that has the Nintendo lady." No, he said, "We have the Nintendo lady," implying that the Nintendo lady worked directly for them rather than they were a client of a PR firm.
Still worked for him. I mean, you could go into to what extent, but she still worked for him.
Would you say the pizza man worked for you?
When a PR firm working for the Amico is still working for him.
I think this is another moot point where we can argue semantics around associates with the company, and full transparency. I do understand where Tony's coming from as far as like not being 100% clear that someone's a contractor versus a full-time employee. So yeah, there is like, some lack of transparency there. And there was like a whole other topic around like investors being given information that changed
I think
before the fact. I'm saying that I'm acknowledging that there's more to discuss that potentially could be another bike shed moment. So I was attempting to end it on a closing note and just give the chat enough space to breathe a bit and recover.
I do want to add one thing. I don't think it's appropriate for if you're doing a promotional that you have to, if someone says they're working for me, we have this person that we have to go into every single capacity. It's not actually yes, they're getting it to promote this console, get new investors and stuff, but they do work for them. Now, the Jay Howard thing is a different situation. I cannot comment on that at all, and I'm not even going to try because I do not know the details on that. I know he worked at a capacity at one point. I'm not sure the stop date, and that is something he has to answer for, and I can't defend that because I don't know. So, but to say every single person in a promo video when they do actually work for Intellivision in some capacity and nitpick and say, well, what to extent? I think that's a little too far. My personal opinion.
Got it. Fair enough. So yeah, if there's nothing else, or I'm sure there's a lot more we could probably get into, but I do want to be respectful of folks' time. So yeah, again, thank you, Max, for making time for this.
I think we can all agree on that. Props to Rhea.
I'm trying to, make this stream a little bit more timestamp friendly, I guess. But yeah, thank you again, Max, for making time for this. And if you have anything else to kind of close out.
Shout out to Days Gaming. I am hypnotized by his hammock talk now. I have to admit. He seems like a cool dude. I Days Gaming, I was being genuine. I'd like to play the Amico and go get some ice cream and then hear you talk about it in your hammock.
Cool. So yeah, I guess that will be the end of the discussion for now then.
All right, but can I ask why Carl doesn't have a shirt on? I really don't know. Why is it Carl shirtless?
Hot and sweaty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said it on a stream. He's hot and sweaty.
Okay. Well, he has sunglasses on though. All right. I want to have Jen on next time. Rhea, if we can make that happen. I've been wanting to talk to Jen for a while.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that channel.
She used to make Amico content. She hasn't as much lately, but she's still interested. And I think she's going to get the Amico. I think you're all going to get the Amico. Have an
I'm
Amico
definitely getting one.
day. Have an Amico day. Can we all can we say that together, Tony?
Have a Prism day.
No. Have an Amico
day.
Nice.